Okay, I just heard something that sounded a lot like gunshots. I'm just gonna put my headphones on and pretend that didn't happen. Honestly, I've lived in an area with this crap before, so, meh. Once in a blue moon, who cares? Anyway, let me get my hair out of the way. Hello, everyone, it's Mono. Welcome back to another art ramble. So, if you've been around the channel for a bit, or you just came from the horrors of warehouse work, highly recommend that video, I put a lot of effort into it, then it's no secret that I'm still pretty freshly an adult. By internet standards, 20 means I'm a grandma, but Granny's gonna keep it real with you. This video doesn't have a lesson. It doesn't have some grand realization about some, big question everyone has. No, it doesn't exist. If you're here for genuine advice on how to be successful, look at my subscriber account. You're in the wrong place. If you're just as lost as me, then great. No, not great. You should not be this lost. That's bad. Wow, I went off the rails already. Those gunshots got me, bro. Anyway. In a way, this video is a vent. It's hard to see it as one because I've been through so much worse, but it is, and if you do find yourself relating to me at all, especially if you're near my age, although I don't have much to give you, I do know that it's valid to feel this way. And don't let anyone try to tell you, oh, you're just being stupid or you're being lazy or whatever. No, I'm sure you're doing your best. That's what matters. You know, there's so much pressure on young people to know what they want to do, even before they leave high school. I mean, we humans can live to 100, if not past that, and we expect kids to know what they're gonna do with all that time before they're old enough to drive? But I guess compared to some of the other lost people I've spoken to, I'm lucky. I've always known I wanted to be an artist. People around me always told me that I'd do well in life because I'm smart and I knew what I wanted to do. They said I'd just figure it out. You know, there wasn't always a, I'm gonna help you figure it out, though. It was just, you'll figure it out. But knowing you want to be something doesn't mean that's automatically going to happen for you. Knowing you are something doesn't mean you're successful at it. In the sense of art skills, sure, I'm pretty proud of myself and how far I've come. My newest paintings are something younger me would have been starstruck by. And I've made a little bit of money, so I know there's an audience out there willing to help support me in what I do. But I'm not making a living off of art. In fact, I'm nowhere close to it. I'm not formally educated in art, and there's zero credentials to my name. Does that mean I've failed, or that I'm just getting started? What counts as a real artist? What skill level do I need to be at, and how much money do I need to make before I can say confidently that it's my career? Of course, these are rhetorical questions, and there's no real answer, not without an opinion coming into the mix, and that's what's tough about art. It's subjective, and my brain is literally wired in a way that's objective to a fault. It's hard to go on without a concrete answer, but I have to. By the time I was in my sophomore year of high school, I knew college was a lost cause. Finances are tough. I grew up poor. I was struggling significantly with my mental health, and I don't think there was such thing as a college fund for me. Public school staff love to push college onto children because it means the school gets more funding, at least here in the States, but for my school at least, they only cared about rich kids, STEM, and athletes. Other kids with other interests were left by the wayside even if they had high grades. As one of those other kids, aka an art kid, the extent of the advice I got was to fill out a FAFSA, pick a STEM school, and pick a degree. My interests did not matter. And even though I was an anxious mess who struggled to communicate, and heck, still do, I really did try to advocate for myself. I tried to talk to the staff and see if there was anything else they could recommend to me that was art related. But no, art school was not only never brought up as a viable option, but it was actively discouraged. Even by my art teacher, who, I mean, honestly hadn't really been that supportive anyway, so who cares what he thinks, but still, even the one person who was supposed to tell kids to go and do art, yeah, no, not at all. Anyway, I started looking into schools on my own. While the rich kids were flying across the country just for campus tours, I soon realized that, to some extent, my school staff were right. Art school wasn't realistic or viable. At the time, I was heartbroken. Of course, like most other schools that aren't a community college or a trade school, art schools have sky-high tuition, especially if you're looking into schools with any level of prestige. I was recommended to look at schools like Ringling, RISD or RISD, CalArts, all that. Okay, I already knew I had zero interest in CalArts. Sorry not sorry, but that meme about the CalArts art style stuck with me, and I really don't want my style to look like that. I know, that's no guarantee that's what's gonna happen, but that's like scary. I don't know. Anyway, RISD I had heard good things about, and Ringling was close to where my dad lived. There were a few other colleges I had in mind, but I've forgotten their names by now. But there's several other problems with art school. Besides the insane tuition, I would still have to buy expensive supplies every year, supplies I probably wouldn't use when I got out. Scholarships for art schools also basically don't exist. In the rare case that you find one, they're incredibly small amounts of money, and honestly, it doesn't feel worth going through all that effort to make piece on piece on piece, and essay on essay on essay, which words I don't really mean. They're just a means to an end. It's not worth all of that effort, all of that work, just for a tiny amount of money. And before anyone says it, I know the idea is to apply for all the money you can get because it adds up. That's the whole thing with scholarships. You apply to a whole bunch, and that money is gonna add and add and add. But the problem is, hardly any scholarships exist for art school. You can't stack up this money, you can't add it up if there's not a lot of opportunities in the first place. Additionally, most employers don't have tuition assistance for art school, if they offer any at all. While I can understand why, as someone with a degree in business is more useful to the corporate ladder over someone with an arts degree, it's still really discouraging. But let's say all of those problems didn't exist. Let's say that today I could go to any school I wanted with zero worries about finances or other obligations like work. What would I go to art school for? I don't mean that rudely at all, sorry if that tone was a bit weird. I like to think that I'd want to be a character designer. Ideally, I'd want to work with non-human characters. I'd love to work on a series with like monsters, anthros, or just creatures in general. But everyone wants to be a character designer. It's an extremely competitive field, so what else could I be? Maybe a 2D animator? But I always hear about layoffs and really poor treatment of the workers. 3D animation seems interesting, but I have zero experience with animating inside of a 3D program, and my modeling skills could definitely use some polishing. After a lot of consideration, I realized that, yeah, I don't even know what I would do at an art school. I mean, I'd want to learn everything and make as many connections as possible, but I know I'd likely have to settle for less than what I really want. And everyone says you can just teach yourself every skill they do at art school for free. Sure, I'm kinda doing that already, but the lack of structure makes it hard to know exactly what I need to do. It's not like I can just go up to my professor and say, hey, like I need to know what exactly I'm doing that's making this piece not work. That's just not a thing. Like, sure, you can ask people online for art criticism, or people give it to you anyway, because some people are just like that, but you don't always get criticism from people who are, what's the word? I don't want to say professional artists because I've seen a lot of variation when it comes to skill level of a professional artist. Like, I've seen people who just, like, honestly, I could be one. Like, I don't mean that rudely at all, but like the skill level is just so varied. But I'm just someone who can like back up what they're saying, you know? But anyway, sure, I could go to college for something else. I have a knack for sciencey stuff. I'm good with electronics and could maybe make it into something like tech. But would I really be happy? Would it be worth spending all that money, even if there's more help and support, if it lands me in a career I just want to leave? What's the point if I'm just working, knowing I'm paying for what I really want to do? Well, no, I wouldn't be happy. So I put it at the back of my mind, realizing I just could not find an answer right now. Until I got my first art commission. For me, it was symbolic. For them, it was probably just another Tuesday. It was the first time I saw evidence that someone else in the world valued my work enough to give me money. It was the fruits of my labor. For the first time, I got to play the role of being an artist paid to do what I loved. It felt really good. That's when I had my realization. And again, I'm not saying I have some big realization, some giant answer in this video. This is just my current realization. This is the big one for me that helped me. Sure, I always wanted to be an artist, but this felt even better than pursuing any of the routes I'd been told exist. What I found was a new path for myself. Sure, my path is unpredictable, inconsistent, even frustrating much of the time. I knew that as soon as I started. But I chose that rocky, winding, overgrown path. It wasn't something I felt was a last resort, or that I was being forced into it for someone else's benefit. Ironically, it's still the most comfortable path I've tried, obstacles and all. This feels like it's for my own good. And as someone with developmental disabilities, regular work is incredibly difficult on both my mind and my body. But when I saw this path, I realized that if I follow it with all of the ambition I can, maybe it'll be worth it. Maybe one day I can leave my regular job, if this becomes stable enough to support me. But I have to work for it. So, viewer, it's safe to say we've reached where I am today. Of course, I'm still on that path. Sometimes I get lost and I stray away from the path. Sometimes the path or my conditions are a total bitch and prevent me from getting anywhere. But my path is rewarding, and I'm not going to give up on it. This path also taught me something else. Not everyone understands what it's like to be an artist today. People like my mom don't understand that you can be an artist online. The internet isn't just games or a hellscape that nothing good comes out of. In an era where higher education is out of reach for a lower class that only gets more and more poor, alternative routes like social media may very well be the only chance to get out of there and carve out a chance to do something better, a chance at survival. It's anything that isn't rotting away in retail or fast food or whatever. YouTube has always fascinated me from a young age, especially the art side of YouTube. Watching stuff like animation memes, Jaden animations, Speedpaint artists, and a bunch of art commentary channels, probably best I don't bring up who, because for some reason, Kid Me managed to be into nearly every art commentary YouTuber who got booted out of the community, starting with Creepshow. Jeez, y'all are an embarrassment. Is it so hard not to commit crimes and do horrible stuff to people? Like, I don't like bringing this stuff up on my channel, but I get very opinionated on this stuff on Twitter, and I freaking hate some of these people. I'm a hater. I think it's okay to hate some types of people. Anyway, when I started doing content here, I didn't expect anything to come of it. But now, I realize that across all of the platforms I use to share my art, including Twitter, where I've arguably put in the most effort, YouTube is the sole platform that's rewarding me right now. Even though I haven't always been able to consistently upload, YouTube welcomes me back. I've seen it. Every time I come back with a new video, even after a few months of being away, it boosts all of my other ones in the algorithm. All of my shorts return. New people start seeing them. Even if I'm not proud of a lot of my older shorts, I kind of cringe at some of them now. People are still seeing them. They're still finding my content, and that's really cool. No other platform I've used does that. It feels like this platform wants me here. It only makes sense to keep going. It's just a little tough sometimes because these videos do take a lot of effort on top of my day job, and creating the art pieces that go into them is a whole nother task in itself, but I hope it'll be worth it. If I'm really lucky, maybe one day I can say I made it. I think positivity and optimistically putting stuff out, regardless of the reception, is going to take me further than sitting here thinking, what's the point? I'm thankful that every art post I make now, I see really big improvements. I've been working so hard and it's paying off. I don't care if nobody sees these videos, even if it would be nice. I'm not going to be sad if I'm not seen, because I've had a lot of people who have seen my art go, how the heck does this girl go unseen? You're underrated. It's encouraging. There's no time for me to sit here complaining about not blowing up. Because at this rate, maybe one day, all those people who say I'm underrated will realize there's a lot of you saying that, and maybe I won't be underrated anymore. The support really does warm my heart, and I appreciate it a lot. I don't always reply to my comments because I'm a bit anxious, and I don't know, I just have like this irrational fear of like building parasocial, like I don't want to do that. I don't want y'all to see me that way. It's weird. But anyway, I do see your comments. I do. And to those of you who are being nice in the comments, thank you. And overall, thank you for watching. There isn't much else for me to say on this topic, but please let me know if there's something you'd like me to expand on, a different life or art subject you'd like me to talk about, or really any subject. I'm open to ideas. If you have a similar experience or you grew from an experience like this, I'd love to hear about it down below. Also, I'm on the way to 500 subscribers. I definitely don't have the watch hours to get monetized yet, but if we can hit that milestone, that'd be super cool. There's a new series I'd like to start soon, and I can't guarantee anything, but if we hit 500, maybe I can launch it. No promises, but we'll see. Alright, enough from me. Bye-bye.